What's going on, YouTube? Mr. Andre 94 coming back to you guys with another video here on the channel. We're going to talk about the Boston Celtics today. Boston Celtics. Now, if you're wondering, when I talk about my Oklahoma City Thunder in the last video, if you're wondering why I'm not using any stats about what I'm thinking, mainly because I don't want to use stats unless I'm talking about a single player. If I'm not talking about a single player, I don't want to use any stats. I just want to go based off of what I've seen from this year and what I think is going to happen. So if you need stats, I ain't the channel for it. I'm not gonna be the stats guy. I do stats for other stuff later on, maybe. I don't know. I ain't decided yet. But if you're looking just for just regular basketball topics and stuff based off personal opinions and stuff and based off what I've seen and stuff like that, hit the like, comment, and subscribe. That's me. But let's talk about it. Boston, not only do they look good this year, they look incredible. They look incredible this year. Number one seed in not only the Eastern Conference, but in the entire NBA so far. The past all season, they did some incredible roster changes that at first I thought it was questionable. I questioned the whole giving up Robin Williams at first, Robin Williams and Michael Brogdon, and it was for Drew Holiday. I love Drew. Drew Holiday was a perfect fit, but I was questioning the Robin Williams thought process. But then found out that Robin Williams had surgery and he was going to be out for the year anyway. And then going back to go taking a look at the games he's played since his rookie season or so, and he's been in and out of the lineup for them anyway. So even with the impact that he does have and the impact that he would bring to the team, it's almost non-existent because he's not on the court. So if he's not on the court, he's mostly a negative than he is a positive for the Boston Celtics. Picking up Drew Holiday was excellent. Somehow picking up Kristaps Porzingis was even better, considering they didn't have to give up much for Kristaps Porzingis, and it's like, oh, so we're really going in all this year. Shout out to Brad Stevens, who's in the office doing these changes and stuff. So if you take a look at the starting lineup alone, Drew Holiday, I think Derek White starts, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Porzingis, and then you got Al Horford coming off the bench at times, but then sometimes Al Horford is starting. Sometimes it depends on who's available for that game. It depends on that. I think the Boston Celtics is a good 6 to 7, maybe 7 deep. In the playoffs, that's all you kind of really need is to be 7, maybe even 8 deep, depends on who you're going up against. I know they picked up Xavier Tillman doing the trade deadline, which is a player that he goes under the radar, but it's just insurance, just an insurance player just to have on the team. Their bench outside of that is really non-existent in my personal opinion. It's not really it's not a player out there that's making major moves for them. You know what I'm saying? I think is it Peyton Pritchard? I think he's coming off the bench for them. I haven't really actually. Let me take a look at the team before I just start naming off random people that might not even be on the team. I'll take a look at the team on the side real quick. But Boston has done has done great. Really, it has done great this year. However, there are some stuff that you have to worry about when it comes to the Boston Celtics team. Peyton Pritchard's coming off the bench. Like I said, Xavier Tillman. I know they play Luke Cornett minutes for whatever reason. I know Sam Hauser comes off the bench, and I ain't gonna lie. Other than that, man, I ain't gonna lie. I think one stat that I did see is they are 8-9, or they might be was it 8-7? I think they might be 9-8, maybe against the playoff teams out west. I think that's the record, or something like that. Something like that when they go against the Western Conference. I mean, it's a big difference between both conferences. Always been, always have been. But anyway, like I said, they're about 7-8 deep. 7-8 is all you kind of really need for your team. Jason Tatum was playing MVP level. I talked about Jason Tatum in the past, and I always said that, especially after the 2022 NBA Finals, I said that Jason Tatum should now be entering into his star to superstar status. For me on the channel, from just in case you're new to the channel, I only believe in there's like a handful of superstars in the NBA, and the rest of them are stars, or all stars, and there's some people that are in between all stars and superstars and stuff like that or whatever. And right now, I believe Jason Tatum is in the middle of that star slash superstar competition, in my personal opinion. And a run this year, especially if it gets to the NBA Finals and they somehow win the NBA Finals, I think that would definitely submit him as a superstar. But right now, he's really on the borderline between both star and superstar, in my personal opinion. He's really knocking on the door to superstar status. I'm just waiting to see how this playoffs run, because last year's playoff run, he had very questionable moments throughout the playoffs that I was watching. They didn't put it right at the Atlanta Hawks as quickly as I wanted them to do. Against Philly, they was that game where he couldn't hit nothing, and then next thing you know it, he can hit threes, and just if he just shot threes, they was good to go. If he shot anything else, it was a bad shot, which is crazy to say, but that's how it was running for him last year in that run against the Miami Heat. That was just embarrassing in general. I ain't gonna say nothing about the Miami Heat game. That was just So this year, with the extra firepower they have. So you got Drew Holiday being a great defensive player, Derek White stepping up, especially defensively. He made all defensive team last year, if I'm not mistaken. And somehow he was getting pushed for All-Star. And I was like, nah, y'all, nah. But he was getting pushed for All-Star. Of course, his co-host Jaylen Brown next to him. Kristaps Porzingis giving him a different style of play at times, to where if stuff is not falling, shots not falling or something like that, they can give it to Porzingis and let Porzingis work down in the post, or Porzingis can bring him out to the mid range, or even need to bring him out to the 3-point line, and he can bring something different that the Boston Celtics haven't had this since KG. If I'm not mistaken, since KG. If I'm thinking about it, since KG was on the roster, they haven't had a power forward like this. Big like this, I should say, big, because he played both the power forward and the center position. They haven't had a player like that since KG, I think. Because if I think back, outside of KG, from the KG era, they was in that in between era, and they had Jared Solinger and Jonas Repko and Amir Johnson, if I'm not mistaken, he was on the team. And then they went from that to getting Al Horford, which Al Horford mostly he was playing. He's been playing the center position, but I think he likes playing the power forward more than the center position. But he's a versatile big. And when he got added to the team, it didn't seem like it was a big deal. But then he started playing his best defense of his career, it seems like, and then his offense was running too. So Al Horford, but they still wasn't like they can get the ball to Al Horford and tell Al Horford to go make plays and make a shot and stuff like that. It wasn't like that at all. So yeah, and then they had Time Lord. Yeah, so since KG, Kristaps plugged in right there. Quite honestly, I don't see why the Boston Celtics couldn't make the NBA Finals this year. I'm trying to think. If I think out everybody out east, I think head and shoulders, just they're 7-man deep. If they go 7-man deep, I don't see a team that can match with them, quite honestly. And if they bring Derek, let's say they're trying to go big, right? They got a big lineup: Drew Holiday, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Porzingis, and Al Horford. And then you bring Derek White off the bench when you need to, and then what? Xavier Tillman takes those minutes. I don't know who takes that other minute. The 7 guy minute. I don't see. I'm thinking. I'm sorry. I'm thinking. I don't see a team that can match them blow for blow in the playoffs like that. Of course, everybody's going to point to Miami. Everybody's always going to point to Miami being the team to do it. I feel like Boston just have too much for Miami this year. I think the past few years since 2020, since they went to war in 2020, I think since then or so, I feel as though they've been even, which is weird to say. I think they've just been even. And I think this year Boston has clearly showcased that they are the best team out east. I don't think there's a team that can match them blow for blow, in my personal opinion. Fully healthy squads, I don't think anybody can match Boston at all. I just don't see it, quite honestly. There's teams that have potential, but I just don't see them. A lot of East teams. There's a lot of East teams that should have made more trades or even more signings or something that could have boosted them up, especially with Boston. But no, it's like no one wanted to do anything. It seemed like nobody was moving an inch or so. So it felt like, to me, it felt like Boston is the best team out East easily. I think they come out the East. I think they come out the East, and then it depends on who they match up in the West. It quite honestly depends on who they match up with the West. If I look at the top to bottom, I ain't even got to stand this up. Actually, I'm not gonna do all that. The T Wolves without Karl Anthony Towns, another team I'll talk about. That's the next team I'll be talking about. I think even with Karl Anthony Towns, Boston can beat them. My Oklahoma City Thunder, they can beat them. They have the size advantage. Still, the Nuggets are the team they have to go to war with. That's the team they have to go to war with. I don't know who's at 4 or 5. I don't know who's 4 or 5. I think the Pelicans are in the playoffs. The Pelicans is a big question mark. I don't know what to think of the Pelicans, quite honestly, at this moment in time. I don't know what to think about them. I don't think they could beat Boston, though. The Suns, fully healthy. I don't think they have. No, I don't think so. The Dallas Mavericks will be fun. I don't know how that will go. I think that'd be a 7-game series. I don't know how that will go. I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. I don't know how that will go. Because you got Kyrie Irving's luck with stepping on Lucky. He hasn't won a game in Boston since. Luka's gonna do Luka things. That front court is more beefed up. I really don't know how that will go. I really don't know. That's the 7-game series, in my personal opinion. Again, Sacramento somehow makes it. I think they get killed by Sacramento. I think the Celtics kill them. 5 games max. The Warriors, not this Warriors team. Not this Warriors team. Not this Warriors team. This Warriors team get killed, in my personal opinion. They run too small. They're running way small. They're running too small now. And then the Lakers, if somehow the Lakers make it, that's a 7-game series. I think that would be, that's a 7-game series. I'm not even gonna give a winner now. That's a 7-game series. But outside of that, I think they can beat a lot of the teams out west. Depends on who comes out west. But if they got to take on, I'm not too sure who comes out the west. Quite honestly, there's one team that's that's knocking on my door pretty much. If they meet the Nuggets, they just played the Nuggets, but I don't think Kristaps is playing. Kristaps, was he playing? I don't know if Kristaps was playing. If he was playing, that's one thing. But the Nuggets team wasn't playing too good. Like Jamal Murray wasn't playing that well. KCP wasn't hitting his shots like that. And then the Nuggets still won. And JT didn't play that well. 7-game series, that's going to be a war. That'll be a warfare. But I think Boston, I think this year is Boston's. I think this year Boston comes out the East. Not easily, but they're clearly the best team out East. And it'll be a big time meltdown if they don't come out the East. Big time meltdown if they don't come out the East somehow. If they don't come out the East, I ain't gonna lie. I don't know what you do if you come out the East this year. Making it to the finals is the Boston Celtics' goal this year. They shouldn't settle. They better not settle because I don't see a team out East that can beat them. Quite honestly, it's not in a 7-game series. Not this year. And if they can't make it to the finals, you have to rethink a lot of things. You have to rethink your whole team. You have to rethink reconstruction that whole team, including the bench and stuff. That's what I do know. I think Boston is NBA Finals bound. And if I'm wrong, they can't make it to the finals, we got to have a whole different conversation about the Boston Celtics. And it'll be bad on Jason Tatum if he can't get there because the discord around him is really bad right now. So if they can't make it to the NBA Finals, it's going to have a conversation that people don't want to have a conversation about. That's what I do know. But hey, that's it. That's the end of this. What are you thinking about the Boston Celtics? Let me know down in the comment section. Hit that like, comment, and subscribe. I'm back on this basketball, so let's get it, y'all. I'll catch you guys on the next NBA team. Should be the Minnesota Timberwolves.